welcome. Catch you and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It Living with HS. I am your host, Whit Marie, ready to dive into another conversation with one of our HS warriors within our HS community here. Super excited to dive in and talk lifestyle, navigating through life of HS, living with HS, and just having the opportunity to learn and connect with fellow HS warriors. So let's dive in and get started here with our guest, Destineé Spruell. Hey.
Hey, how are
Good.
you?
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Good. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. Yes. How was your
It
Thanksgiving?
was
Good.
good. It was good. I cannot spend some time with some family and just
hmm
relaxed after cooking and slaving over the stove.
I actually did no cooking this year. This is like one of the first years I didn't touch a pot at all. I did do some prep work.
Okay, that helps. So the prep
hmm
helps. That takes the most time,
That is true. That is true. Where are you located?
I am in Michigan, so
Okay. All right. I'm in Florida.
okay.
Okay. Yes, it was surprisingly a little chilly, but it wasn't like as cold as it usually is on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah. We woke up. It was fine yesterday. It was a little chilly, but
hmm
woke up this morning and we have snow now, so it's yeah.
Whoa, overnight.
Yeah, overnight. You never know with Michigan.
hmm
It we can get 4 seasons in one day. We can, we can wake up tomorrow and be all nice and warm and yeah.
Mm-mm. Y'all can keep the snow. I'll see it for like vacation, but as far as like living in it,
No,
no.
no.
Shoveling snow, no.
Yeah.
No.
Get me out. Get me out of here. I'm sorry. But I'm like, if it wasn't for family, I would be gone. Because
Okay, I understand. Is like everyone up there in Michigan?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go, and y'all just, oh no.
That's exactly how I feel about Florida.
Uh,
I want to go somewhere else. I don't know where,
okay.
but I definitely know I want to go somewhere else. I've lived in Georgia as well, but it's pretty much like the kind of the same environment.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go just a little bit further out. I was thinking Texas maybe. Furthest I would go would be like California. When I was younger, I thought of going to DC, but then I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a lot of stuff up there. So.
Now I don't know, but I'll say some. But no, yes, I actually wanted to move to Florida a couple years back, and I was like, okay,
Okay.
because I'm tired of snow, cold.
hmm
Send me somewhere that doesn't have this. But then I'm like, do I want to deal with anything else? Like
Right.
hurricanes, earthquakes, like,
I mean, listen,
mm,
hurricanes, they not that bad if you like in an area where it's not that bad.
see me,
Now,
don't think worst to live in. Like, why did you go there? I thought it was cute. I don't know. So yeah,
I understand. I understand.
that's yeah. But anyway, how are you? How's everything going?
Um, oh man. Right now everything is going as far as like life-wise is going pretty good. But as far as I guess on the topic, so HS wise, it's developing and negatively, I guess I should say. They have me on this different medication and it's pretty strong from what they say. So I can't be on it long, but it actually like clears up all of my HS for the most part.
mm,
Right,
mm,
right. But however, I have now progressed in HS where I have developed cellulitis, which gets in my legs.
mm-hmm.
So now I get flare-ups in those areas instead of in the other areas, like for the armpits and everything like that. So it's getting annoying
Yeah,
all
that's
over again.
perfect words for it. Now, when did you notice like a change within your HS from your original diagnosis to where you are now? Like, do you feel like
Ooh.
food or stress, or what do you feel like contribute to that?
Oh, stress most definitely is mine. When I was younger, I was always, I think I put myself under more stress than I necessarily need to, because I had dreams, I have goals and stuff like that. So, because of that, I'm my biggest critic.
Mm.
So doing that and then having, honestly, just having this condition on top of that just stresses me out even more. So normal everyday life on top of like the pain of it all, because like mine, they don't go from like they don't not even go from anywhere. They grow. They start maybe here, and then they'll
Then
get like to the size of like a grapefruit. Like I don't know if like in my videos, like I get pretty graphic
yeah.
in mine. Because I don't mind. I never started this for any other reason than really just spreading the awareness of how bad it can actually get
Mm-hmm.
for stage 3ers. So I like to keep it raw sometimes because man, it hurts. And a lot of people just think that it's like, oh, these little ones, or sometimes people think like, um, once you get like the surgery or whatever. Like I know people who had the surgery
Mm-hmm.
and it completely went left field for them. So it's just overall, it's a
It is.
lot. It's stressful.
It is. I I don't want to say I haven't heard of anyone or talked to anyone that also experienced, because I experienced that as well, like where they start off really, really small and then
Mhm.
they'll grow, and then I'll be like, okay, what do I do? Like, how do I
Mhm.
fix this? Because I've always heard, oh, I get them like they just come, like at one size and that's it.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to hear from other people to kind of figure out how do you deal with that? How do you manage as far as like trying to catch it in its growing process to kind of say, okay, I know it's getting bigger,
Mhm.
let me do this, or adjust the way what I'm intaking or what I'm doing so that it can, get
Mhm.
faster.
So
Um,
for me, over the years, I have found there isn't much for mine. Like they consider mine as very
mm-hmm,
abnormal. So for mine, there's not much to really catch mine because mine can grow overnight. Like mine can go from a size of a dime, like a pin size,
mm-hmm.
to like the size of a grapefruit overnight.
Oh wow.
So yeah, no, mine is. I have stories I could tell for days, but it the way I treat it when I feel it coming, first
Mm-hmm,
thing I want to do is really try to do a bleach bath.
mm-hmm,
So that's been my method for like years. If I don't have the capability of doing that, because sometimes sitting down even hurts, so I can't always get into a tub. And then on top of that, some of the tubs aren't like comfortable to be
mm-hmm.
in.
Exactly.
um, so I found to what really helps for me, I have to let it really do its thing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I bother it, like if I start pressing on it, or if I start to even going to the doctor to put injections or anything like that
Yeah.
in it, I'll take the antibiotics,
Yeah.
anything that's like prescribed like that. But as far as actually messing with it,
Mm-hmm.
I've done the lancings. I've done all of literally every process you could probably think of. Even I've lost even over 100 pounds at one point in my life, and it just escalated my HS to obscene. Like I was on so much medication, and you would think like I was out here like in remission, just live. No, I was very heavily medicated. Yeah, so I have found like it's for me, I haven't found much to really help. Oh, one thing that I did find, and they reached out to me, which I honestly was in disbelief that it would actually work, which is that my magic healer stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually didn't believe that it would actually help. Now, for me, because the way my skin, the way it happens, the way it peels and stuff, I can't put it on when it's open or anything like that. Because they do have one, I believe, that you can put on open wounds,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't do that with mine. But once it starts to heal and gets that, man, that soothing feeling, whoo,
It's
yep,
amazing. It's
yep,
amazing. So okay, so you mentioned bleach
mhm,
baths, my magic pillar.
mhm.
I love this question of trying to figure out what is your holy grail of products that you go to.
Oh God. Okay, so for gauze
Okay.
purposes, I use Equate. I love theirs. They don't stick to my skin. They are. that they have that soft cotton feel. And I've tried all types of brands. I literally used to go to the store sometimes and like when I was younger, we just went through a whole lineup and just to see which one didn't stick to my skin overnight. So those are my favorite ones. You can find them literally at your Walmart, Target, wherever. Um, for as body wash, I love Native. Um, I I haven't tried this one. It's CLN. I've just started seeing it.
Yes, yes.
Um, so I want to try it. It's in my Amazon cart. So I want to
Really good.
see how that does.
It's,
Have you tried it?
I did. I have a bottle in
What?
my now,
Tell
and
me more.
I love it. Like,
Which one is it? Because I saw that they have like four different
yes.
ones.
So
Which one do you
I
like?
have really sensitive skin, so I would
Me
put the
too.
sensitive one.
Mhm.
Amazing, amazing. I do it within my regimen.
Mhm.
Listen, click CNN,
Mhm.
and then I'll follow up with like antibacterial soap.
Mhm.
Amazing, amazing. Like the
Okay.
lather, amazing. Like
Okay.
it doesn't stick to it or
Mhm.
anything.
I
Like when
don't
I
care
say
about that
sensitive
part.
skin, like
Mhm.
over the top sensitive, like anything can like trigger me to like flare up,
Mhm.
rash up,
Yep.
nothing. It's so like good for the skin. I'm like
Really.
every day.
Okay.
So
Yep. So
yes,
I'm gonna have to try that
yes.
one then because that was my next thing. I wanted to find something that was better than Native because like I feel like it's great, but I feel like there's better out there for my skin condition. And then on top of that, with the cellulitis, I can't use certain soaps in those areas like at all.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure they are cleaned with a completely like that cleaning
Mm-hmm.
regimen versus HS cleaning regimen is completely different.
Completely different.
Completely. It was like I know I've had HS since a long time, but like I finally got it down. All right, I know what type of pain I'm finna have. I'm about to. I know I need to be down for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I'm not going to merge back outside for another 2 weeks. All right, awesome. No, this cellulitis is completely different. Completely different. How you have to treat it, how you have to maintain it. Like it puts you down. So that's why I was just like, I gotta find something just a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot better than what I've been using. So I'm actually pretty excited to try that now that I have your recommendations. So that's exciting. Okay, all right.
I think you'll like it because I'm definitely the same way where it's like, let's get we'll
I'm
try
very,
this, but
very skeptic.
it was worth it. It
Okay,
was worth it. It took me a
okay.
minute to be like, okay, let me actually try this because I was so used to what I was already
Uh
doing.
huh.
But when I tried it, I haven't looked back. I
Okay. Yeah, definitely going to be getting that then because it's so needed.
yeah,
But yeah, thank you for
yeah. Sure.
that.
Also, if you have not tried, if you are interested, shout out to Pedro, owner of the HS Soap Company. Feel free to try his as
Mhm.
well. He has a bar. This is my favorite one. It's called Sandy Beach.
Okay.
It smells amazing, but it's for us.
Okay.
Like it's made for anything that you may have. It's made.
Mhm.
So like I have eczema as well. I use that and
I have that too.
it clears it up. So
Okay.
and I'm like okay, that with the CLN
Mhm.
works wonders.
Okay.
So
All right.
or
I do have him on here. I believe I have him on here and TikTok. So I'm going to have to reach out to him,
yes,
and get that because yeah, I definitely need to get further into the regimens
mm-hmm.
for HS, because like I've been doing the same thing. What I feel like works for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to like try new things to even to even post and just helping other people with that as well. Because like I know I'm not the only one, but it's very scary to try new things.
No, literally, literally. I'm like, cause I was hearing a lot about my magic healer, and I finally got my hands on a can, and I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, and I never tried it, and then I was like, okay, it's real bad flare, and I was like, all right, it's the me or it's the so I was like, I got this magic healer. I'm like, let me try it.
Hmm.
Put my bandages on, went to sleep, no pain,
Hmm.
no instant relief.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, what's in this stuff? Because
Hmm.
what happened? I
Yep.
woke up, I was able to move, I was able to get up and walk. I wasn't moving slow. I was really able to kind of get back to normal.
Yeah.
Ever our normal.
Yep.
So it's like, huh,
Yep.
okay, okay. We're getting somewhere, and I love that. So, yes.
Yeah. I actually have to agree because I'm not even gonna lie. That was kind of a similar story to mine because it sat in my corner of my little medicine
Mm,
like cabinet for like a long time because they sent me in and I was like, yeah, because I get sent a lot of stuff like people want me to try their products. I'm just like,
mm.
yeah, like I will. And like, cause I've tried one before, and it did not give me the greatest of skin afterwards. So I
Mhm.
was just like, I'm very skeptical on like what I use now. Well, I've always been, but I was trying to help out more businesses and stuff to get more marketing and stuff like that. But when I finally had this one flare up, I didn't have any choice. Like I was actually out of my normal product, and seeing how I couldn't actually go get it myself, I had to use what I had.
Mm.
So my magic cooler was what was in there, and I was like, you know what? Okay, we finna give this a shot. It was the biggest abscess that I had like under my arm,
Mm.
and I put it on there. It literally opened within 3 days. I
Wow.
had been fighting to get this thing to open, like bleach baths, turmeric soap, even make. That's when I started making my own turmeric soap. Well, my girlfriend she makes it. And it literally, I was like, this whole time,
This
this gold in the jar has
this whole time, this is what it's been. Literally, like,
been.
what, where did y'all make this? How did y'all make this? I just want to say thank you.
Hmm.
Like, because, yeah.
It,
I'm,
it, it was definitely life changing. I put it on. I actually need to get some more. But I put it on almost. I don't even care the size anymore. I use it sometimes even for lotion. Just to, especially when I'm flared up. I don't care. It's cooling. It doesn't make the gauze stick. So it just overall it's
it's
10
amazing.
out of 10 out of 10.
Literally. Like, hands down.
Yep.
Amazing, amazing
Mhm.
stuff. So, you kind of hinted at it a little bit, and I'm curious to
Mhm.
know, as far as where it all began, how did it begin, and what was your initial reaction versus to where you are now?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
here.
That is such a loaded question. Oh my God. Okay. So, to even just unpack that, wow. I was at my prime. I was 12 years old. No, prime, my
Okay.
prime. I was 12 years old. I was playing sports. Like I was playing soccer, basketball, volleyball. Like it was
Active.
amazing. Life was going great. And then out of nowhere, puberty hit.
Yep. Yep. Like,
And I was just like, all right, we get a little, a little bump there, a little bump here. All right, cool, whatever. Nothing,
almost.
And then one day, literally right before our big competition, it wasn't even one day. It was like the week before. It just started forming right here, and it's funny because like here, I want to see if I can actually. It's this scar right here is the my first ever lancing surgery on my arm. So literally, like 2 weeks before it started forming, and I was like, that's different. That's like weird. Not even talking to my mom about it. She was like, "Oh, it's just it's just a bump. It'll go away."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, cool." So literally, it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it was literally like the size of my fist sitting underneath my arm. And
Wow.
I'm still playing basketball. Like it's literally
Still
just
going. Yeah.
right there. And I'm just like, one day I was like, the pain had got too much.
Mm.
I couldn't do it. So my mom was like, all right, we're going to try and open it.
Ah.
Yeah. So you know where that went. She
Oh.
did it with the needle, of course. She tried
Yeah.
to open it. That did not go well
Mm.
whatsoever. whatsoever. That thing, I think it felt like I was like about to lose my arm. Like it was so bad.
The sharpness
And
is
yes,
like,
like
oh,
even the touch was enough because like my skin, it swells, it goes red, it goes purple, and like it just that fever is just ridiculous.
yeah.
That thing expanded from overnight from the time she tried to open it because nothing came out. I'm guessing she didn't go deep enough or whatever. She just aggravated it,
Mm-hmm.
and it just grew again overnight. Woke up to it being like even bigger, and so I went to the doctor then because I had to. I didn't have a choice then. So my dad took me to the ER. I'm gonna find out what it was. They do the surgery, whatever, and then they pack it.
Mm-hmm.
That thing never again. From that moment, I only ever had it packed only ever one time after that. Because for me, the way my skin heals, the packing actually pulls off skin when you're like taking it off.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like what my skin is so soft and so sensitive, like it doesn't do well with that. It just does better. You just let it heal on its own. You just call it a day. But I don't know what he did to it. It was so deep, and like you could literally like my skin's like very translucent there now. But yeah, that was my very first time. After that, I had like probably I want to say every 2 months or so, and then once I hit 15,
Mm-hmm.
it just went left again. It was like stages. So like I was stage one from like 12 to 15,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went from stage one to two from like 15 to 18. By 18, I was like full blown stage three.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
And then after that, I've just been
Just
progressing slowly but surely. They tried the Humira. It worked for a little stint, but when I say worked, it reduced them. I went from having them every single day to probably like once to twice, maybe 3 times a month, which was doable. I was cool living, working, all that stuff. But after that, once Humira stopped working, like, and it stopped working probably within like I want to say probably the first 5 years of me taking it. Um, and then after that, it was like I was just taking it to like make sure I didn't go completely overboard.
mm-hmm.
And now that it's completely stopped working, I'm hoping, I'm hoping Remicade works. That's the next thing I'm going to try. I've officially decided. I wasn't going to try anything else. I was just going to go on the medication with the antibiotics. But now, since the cellulitis has progressed, I don't have a choice because it's either that or I'm stuck in bed all day.
Right.
So I'm going to be trying the Remicade starting next month, hopefully,
Okay.
and we're going to see how it goes. So
Yeah.
that's literally how my timeline happened. I'm 29 now, so that's yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So, as far as finding a medicine that works for you and that you were willing to try and not really per se of what the doctors wanted you to try, how was that navigating for you and finalizing that decision to say, okay, let's give this a shot? Like, was there any hesitation in the beginning or was it just like, shoot, yeah,
Yes.
go?
Oh no, I'm not because I feel like I've been a guinea pig since I was 12, honestly, because where I was in Georgia, no one knew what it was. So
Mm,
I've been taking different medications, doing different injections, different doctors. I've done clinical trials out the wazoo. Like it, I have been poked and prodded. So I am very knowledgeable when it comes to the possibilities and the side effects when it comes to the medication. I'm not willing to try anything and everything anymore because I feel like I might have progressed a little bit faster because I tried certain things. But I don't know. We won't know that. But it is in the hopes that this medication will work from my research that I have done on because they presented me with I could either try the Cosentix, which
mhm.
none of my doctors feel like it'll work for me. Like none of them from I have like so many, but anyways, none of them believe that Cosentix would work for me. They think Remicade is literally like my last resort. And I'm not. I've had I've seen two different surgeons. I think it's either two or three different surgeons and many different dermatologists who've all said I am not a good candidate for really to have surgery because with my skin it comes up everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's going to regrow skin. It's going to be the same skin.
It's okay.
So yeah, I don't have any areas on my body where they could take it from that it won't grow HS or cellulitis or inflammation or whichever skin disease that it decides to pop up with. So I'm not a good candidate for surgery. Nor am I a fan of it. It's so, whew, I give anybody who goes through it props. I think one of our HS friends, I think Pablo, is going through it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I saw that.
Uh,
Yes.
I, I was like, man, I give you so many
Um.
props because I just, ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Oof.
yeah. I give anybody who goes through it props because I'm just like, that's kind of what my skin looks like on a basis of me just having a regular flare up. So
So
to
I'm
go through that,
somebody to make it. Mm-mm.
yeah. So that's pretty much how I've been deciding what I'm going to take. Um, it really became a real deciding factor once the this current flare up popped up because I was doing pretty decent. I was managing it, but I was like, oh, this is literally like almost every other month now. Like, as soon as I get one done, I have this one. Oh no, like it's either going to be HS or that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it because I'm now to the point where I'm starting to progress into inflammation in my joints. So I'm now getting swollen fingers, swollen knees, swollen ankles, and I'm just like,
Right. It's not one
when
thing,
does it end?
another. Like, come on,
So,
pick and
yep.
choose.
So with the research, Remicade actually helps with all forms and just resistant forms of inflammation. So I was like, that's going to be probably my way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do have to go to get infusions done instead of doing it at home. Um, so I'm just going to have to suck that part up and go back to doctor's offices again all the time.
Right.
But if it puts me in remission, I really don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I.
yeah.
Hey, it's remission is nice. Remission is nice.
Mhm.
Get a consistent wave of it. So,
Yep.
oh, you mentioned that your experience in Georgia wasn't, per everyone's
Mhm.
experience or what you expected of it. What was that like for you, and how did you take that into your own hands and allow yourself to not become deterred from doctors, but to continue to go back to seeing doctors until you found that right doctor that was going to sit there and go on this journey with you?
I just found that doctor like not too long ago. I have been on the manhunt for a doctor that will actually like listen to understand
Mm-hmm.
my condition and not listen to put me and under the microscope
Mm-hmm.
as a study for them. So the doctor that I found right now, they're called Fork Care Dermatology, and they are pretty awesome. They when I call them, they actually want to know like how I'm doing with my HS. They actually remember who the heck I am. So that's a very big part when you have a chronic condition, a chronic pain one at that. Having to explain it consistently over and over and over and just going to so many doctors, it is very deterring, very it almost becomes desensitizing
Yeah.
in a way because when I go to the doctor now and they ask me to like, oh, do you mind if I see this? I'm like, do I mind? How? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, here,
Right.
here's this one, here's that one. Like I'm just
Right.
like,
Like, where do you want?
I right. I have been searched and everything. Like, come on, man. It's you got to see it in order to understand it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, doctors always tell me, "Oh my gosh, you're like one of the worst cases I've ever seen." And I'm just like, if I had a not even a dime, literally, if I had like, I would actually say a nickel or a penny. I mean, I'm pretty set off how many times I've heard that from doctors,
Wow.
and it's yeah, yeah. So like even the way you approach like a patient, I know they're probably in their head, they're like, hey, I know I said that so that you could sound pretty cool, but like overall, I'm just like that doesn't sound cool to me at all. Like I don't know if you actually even understand the pain that I go through. Like I've had doctors like because I guess because we're so fascinating, like they just want to touch everywhere, and like it's not even like that soft
Soft touch.
pat. Like
Like,
yeah, it's literally like
why are you pressing on
right.
me?
It's there. It's big. It's deep. Yes, you can obviously see it. You don't have to like palpate it.
Exactly.
It's
I'm like, I told you it was tender when I came in here,
exactly.
and you're making it worse.
Mhm.
You're making it worse.
Mhm. Like I had one doctor. He just wanted to do like nothing but injections in my armpit.
Mm,
My God, to the point where my skin actually started to turn white.
really?
Yes, like my armpits had such a bad reaction for so many years. Like my skin color was, I'm like, you see, I'm dark skinned. It was white. Like my
Wow.
armpits were blotchy, like white patches, like almost like vitiligo was kind of starting
Okay, so
in my armpit.
let's talk about it because they started me off with that,
Hmm.
and I'm getting injections because I got it like constantly in my groin areas.
Okay.
So I stopped one because I almost kicked the doctor in his face because I was just like, "You shooting me? It hurt."
Hurts.
So
Hmm.
that was already that, but knowing that that was like a temporary relief per se, at least for me, it was a temporary relief. Um,
Hmm.
what was that like for you constantly? Like, did you see yourself, or were you making a game plan at that time to say, okay, this is working, this is gonna be the all be all?
Ooh, no, because for me it wasn't. I never. Ooh, that's such a hard one. I don't think going back, I ever in my life ever said, "Oh, this is working."
Mm,
I have yet to actually find something that will give me the "Oh, this is working" mindset or even feeling.
mm,
Um, I was almost there with Humira, but then I still started to flare up. So it was more so of it was slowing it down.
mm.
I've had those feelings, but as far as it's working, I've never been there. I don't think I've ever had a moment since I was 12 where I went even 2 or 3 months without having a flare up. So no, I can't even answer that question.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. What about
mine is mine is constant.
constant? I was gonna ask as far as like, because I've heard warriors and other patients
Hmm.
finding a manageable state for themselves, whether that's like food intake and adjusting their diets or adjusting, what they do on a day to day basis, and because I
Mm,
heard you,
okay.
stay,
For that,
so
I
just
will say the time where I was probably where we were trying to figure out the regimen of Humira with my pain medication,
mm,
and just trying to control my stress.
mm,
I was pescatarian at the time, almost vegetarian.
mm.
I thought that would help. The eating part that's not my trigger, unfortunately. I really wish it was, but it's
Now,
not. I really wish it was that simple for me, but it's not. I really wish I could just stop eating some pork and beef, and I would never have a flare up again. I would trade that in a heartbeat. I would, I would take that. But no, it's not. Unfortunately, it did get better. I'll say that it was more manageable when I was pescatarian because I was smaller. But that was also because like my back was bad, my knees hurt because I was bigger. So at that time, when I finally decided, all right, I'm finna lose this weight, I was at the heaviest I had ever been in my life. And my skin was actually not that bad. Like I was getting it every 2 to 3 months. They were about the size of like an orange or a mandarin
mm,
during those times. And I could deal with that. I literally take an ibuprofen. I'll be good. I'll go ahead and be good. And this was during college. During college at the time. So I would say that would be my most manageable time. And I went from being, I was, believe it or not, I was like 360 pounds. That was how big I was. And then I lost, I think I lost 100 and my smallest weight was 237. So whatever that math is, 100 and whatever. So during that time, because I was smaller, it was better. I was able to move around more. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do. But also, I was very much on a lot of medication. That was the most medication I had ever decided to be on. That I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna try all these things to make sure I'm good. I was on Humira, doxycycline. I was taking ibuprofen like 3 times a day, and not even like 200s. I was taking 800s because of how much pain I was in. But I was still draining everywhere. Like it didn't matter. The only reason it was manageable was because I was medicated. Um, but now I don't take as much medication, but I also just had back surgery not too long ago. So that's a whole different beast within itself. But overall, I would probably say just because of that, that would be when it was the most manageable. And I didn't have as many stressors on me at that time. It was pretty much, school and just school.
Yeah.
But once later on, a few years later, I started losing relatives, like my closest ones to me, and I have not been back ever since. And that was like my early 20s. Like that was a good time of life.
You just had to be there.
No, who, you did. That was, if anybody watches this knows me from college, they know it was a great
No.
time. But now is like I want to be in remission just so that I can get like a little, even just the little small things of life back. Being able to go on the hike, like that was one of my main things that I did, even just by myself. I would go to like a nearby trail or park or whatever, and I would take my camera and just go nature shoot, like doing nature shoots. That was always my piece, whatever. Or I would go and sit downtown and do the same thing, just take random pictures of architecture. Um, that's where I always found my peace. But I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like stuck in the house
Yeah.
most of the time now because if I go outside, I'm afraid of infection getting into my leg. I'm afraid literally like somebody's like blowing even just a leaf blower like a piece of dirt, and now I need to go take a whole like cleansing thing on my leg because I don't know if anything got in it. So like simple things, just simple luxuries of even just going to a grocery store, and the fact that if they don't have a riding cart, I'm going to be like struggling around this whole store trying to find what I need to find. So it's little things like that like you take for granted. Even all the way down to just taking a shower. It feels like I'm getting stabbed sometimes. So it,
It's a
it's a
lot.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a lot. It's a lot. But I say this a lot to people. I've learned how to just compartmentalize it all. Because people ask me all the time, how are you still alive? How are you doing it? I'm just like, honestly, you just have to find somewhere to put it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, that darkness of it all, of this
It,
condition, it'll creep. It'll creep
it,
before you even
yeah.
know it. And I have found that happen. Like I have found myself being just shut in my house for months at a time, not talking to anybody because of the pain that I'm in, and no one knows. I'm not talking about it. And like I kept my condition hidden for so long because no one really believed that it was as bad as it was. Even if I showed them, it was like, oh, it's just,
Yeah.
it'll go away. It's fine. And I'm just like, no, like this hurts. What you mean?
Just
It'll just
period.
go away. Like, have you had an abscess the size of your kneecap in your groin area? No.
Exactly.
Like, I remember this one time. I'll tell this one last story. This one time I had my very worst flare up on like my backside. I have a pilondonal, or however the heck you say that word, on my right, right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing, I've had it for, excuse me, I've had it for years. But when it first came up, it was like the size of literally like a dime. If I knew then what I know now, I probably would have. I actually I don't know what I would have done, because it's so big,
Mm-hmm.
compared to before, and when it put me down, I went to such a dark place during that time. Like I stayed in my room, or I stayed in my house really. And I didn't go anywhere. Like I really would just I had to walk like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just punch my way to the car and go and get anything that I could get that didn't involve me getting out of the car, and then literally creep my way back inside. And that was my everyday, or like every other day, it depending on how whatever I bought to just last so that I could eat or whatever, because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't telling anybody, hey, like I need help. Hey, my back is literally like this, like it was the size of this, like the hole in my back,
Oh wow.
and it was about, honestly, it was about as deep before I even showed my parents. And it was my mom that I showed, because she was just like, I haven't heard from you, like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it was, I want to say it was a holiday or something, and they were like, I have to come over. So I went to my parents' house and I showed her, and she was just like, why were you sitting over there
Mm-hmm.
by yourself with all? I was just like, because like what can you do?
Right. Right.
I was like, I appreciate that, but like overall, in hindsight, like even now thinking about it, I'm like, what could you have done? Like, told me to go to the hospital to sit there and do the exact same thing, which is lay in the bed with IVs and tubes. Like, I did that back in May, and that was the very first time I've
Mm-hmm.
ever had to do a hospital stint, because I will tough it out. I
Yeah.
will be at knocking on. I can't. Like I got phobias. I just can't.
I hear you.
And being in the hospital, I just ugh. But when I went this last time in May, I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like they called the ambulance, they made me go, but graciously I went, because they literally said if I wouldn't have gone, I would have died. Yeah, like if I would have went to sleep that night, 9 times out of 10 I wouldn't have woken up, because I was already headed into septic shock. So it was crazy. I did not anticipate that to be told to me. I ended up going for being admitted and them telling me, oh, I only need to be there 3 days, to being there for almost a whole month. So yeah, because they could not get that infection down. It wouldn't go down. My levels kept just staying up. And then on top of that, came come to find out how bad my back actually was,
Mm-hmm.
which I ended up having that surgery while I was in the hospital, which added on another week from that. So I ended up after that having to go to rehab because of not walking for so long. I ended up having to go and be trained how to walk all over again. Yeah, I was bedridden for a whole month, and then that whole learning how to walk process,
Mm-hmm.
that phase, I give PT a whole new props, because dealing with people who not necessarily can handle that pain
Mm-hmm.
of trying to learn that again, especially you're dealing with the pain of recovery on top of that.
Exactly.
It's just it's a whole different game, that I personally did not anticipate when I went in there. Like healing an open wound on one leg and then
Mm-hmm.
having surgery on the other, on my spine on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, I don't think anybody could be warned for that. So it was bad. I was dehydrated. The IVs, I kept getting infiltrations. Like I had to get switched up, so like ended up having to put one in my arm. Yeah, it was a lot. Like when I left there, and then the don't even just, oh man, the withdrawals off of all that medication that they put you
Mm-hmm.
on,
Yeah.
because my pain levels were so high, they put me on Dilaudid, which is like, I don't know if you know what it is, but it's one of them that's up there. And I've never been on anything higher than ibuprofen really. And whoo, bless you.
Thank you.
And coming off of that stuff, I was like, yeah, no one tells you any of this stuff. they don't they don't tell you, hey,
This
you
this
gonna
how
get shaped
you
and shrinked. I was like, don't you ever? No, I can't.
I know
That
I warning next
yes,
1, 2,
a
3 or something.
big one, a big warning. But like I said, I'm very grateful. Even though I went through all of that, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. Because it's been a long journey, one heck of a long
Yeah.
road. I'm still going, still figuring it out. But the Remicade, like I said, I'm hoping it works. Because after that, that's funny. We even talked about it because my girlfriend asked me this before she left. She's like, "What are we gonna do if like the Remicade?" And I was like, "I don't
Mhm.
want to talk about it. I
Yeah.
don't want to think like that because that's all I got left.
Yeah. At this point,
That's all I have left." And they were like, after that, I could go back to clinical trials. I was like,
mm-mm.
I'll just take my chances.
No, don't roll with the punches.
Yeah,
Mm,
because nope, I don't have it in me to get another diagnosis with another autoimmune, autoinflammatory, or chronic anything. I don't have it in me.
yeah, I'm cool with what I have
Yep,
right now. I'm
yep,
all,
yep.
this is enough on my plate right now.
I got diagnosed with two more in a year. I'm good.
Yeah. So knowing that this is your journey and just kind of hearing all of this that you have been through and that you are continuing to go through, and I must say you are doing it beautifully. Like you are one of the strongest warriors that I can tell that although you go through those dark moments and those painful moments, you don't let that stop you. You
No, thank you.
find a way. And you find it to be authentically you and continue to put yourself out there.
Hmm.
What in your circle or who in your circle keeps you going or keeps pushing you to say, keep doing this, keep going?
I actually have a couple people that I have to give them their props. First and foremost, I honestly have to say God. I
Man,
Before I give any person that prop, God is first because I would have been gone years ago. Like I've had the mental stance of even I'll say I've had it where I didn't know if I would actually wake up the next morning. I didn't know if I wanted to wake up the next morning because of how much pain I was in. I've had those times where I would just sit there and be like, you know what, this hurt.
yeah.
I'm good. Calling it a quits right here. I had a great life. I was. I'll even tell it. I was 24 years old. I was like, you know what? I've had a great life. It's
Mm-hmm.
good. Thank you. And I'm out.
Right.
But I was just
Be
like,
off.
yep, it's good. But I was like, you know what? No. When I woke up the next morning, I was like, okay, all right, you're not done yet. Because I was like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna see what brings on, and I'm here 5 years later still. So, that was one of my big moments where I'll say that was one of my life changing ones before this one that happened in May.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but after that, I would definitely have to say my family, specifically, who was one of my biggest biggest cheerleaders was my grandmother. And unfortunately, she passed away. But that woman, oh my goodness, she was a force to be reckoned with when she was here. Even her memory is just so heavy in our family. And that would be like, I would be remiss if I did not say her. So I would have to say her, my mom, my aunt. One of my aunts, her name's Cassandra. She is like one of my biggest like cheerleaders. My girlfriend, who is like, oh my goodness, they like neck and neck. All three of them that are still here. Those three, oh my goodness. Like when I was in the hospital in May, they were like, who's gonna be who's who's going to be the head of this, who's going to do this, who's going to get the phone calls, and I'm just like, guys, just chill out. We're all here in the same room. So I would say those three are my biggest supporters, my biggest like people to push for, to still be here for, because my family has been through a lot, and I just personally I could not put them through another one. So I fight as hard as I can for them. Like I do it for myself too. Don't get me wrong, but if I feel like at this point and at this stage of my life, if I don't have something bigger than myself, I will succumb, and I can't do that. So them, oh, and then I can't let it pass without mentioning my father as well. That's we like bros. Oh my goodness, he just called me the other day on Thanksgiving and was like, "You coming by? Y'all rattling in the pots over there?" Oh my goodness, I love him. But I would have to say those four, and then there's so many others I could mention. But over time, I have realized, people come and go. And this condition that I have, unfortunately, it will push some people away. Especially if you don't understand it. Most people are scared of what they don't understand, and that's fine. If you don't, feel like you have the capacity to try and learn more about it, or even to just stick around to be like, you know what, I love you, but I might just have to love you from a distance. That's on you. But I have found that life life at any point in time, it is always in orbit. We can't control it. As hard as we try to, we can't control it. I've tried to control my condition for years, and I have realized I can't control it.
No.
Unfortunately, just like the doctors told me, I'm abnormal. So I live my life at a constant nine. I'm usually at a constant nine in pain, or a constant nine in life, or a constant nine. The way it just happens, I don't know what's going to happen the next day to the next day sometimes. So it is what it is. I'm grateful, however, the cards lie. I am still here.
That's right.
I'm still just going.
Right. You still going. You are still swimming.
Yeah. And that's how I came up with the name Just How Life Goes, because that's funny, because it was a paper that I wrote back in so sorry. But it was a paper that I wrote back in high school, and I've been taking off with this name ever since. I am trying to.
No.
I know she's at work, but that's pretty much what it started as, and now I am just as excited that people know that name now. People even call me that name, which I think is funny, because it all started with just me writing a paper and doing an oratorical competition, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to keep creating with it. Yeah. So we're going to see where it goes. I'm going to be.
I can't now. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I was just saying, I'm pretty excited to see where it goes from there.
I'm so excited for you. So proud of you, first off.
Thank you.
Giving you your virtual flowers, because seeing where you started, and I kind of did a deep dive into, how it all started, of, you putting out this post of, hey, here's a thread of how I've been feeling lately, to showing the world how you are feeling versus just posting it, and even taking it into your personal life of saying, you may not understand, but I'll take the time to educate you. I'll take the time to let you into this journey that I'm on, and knowing how to navigate through, because it's hard when you first get diagnosed and you're trying to navigate through that. And it's like, especially going through puberty and going through such a prominent time of teenage years and getting into high school and college and adulthood now up until now, it's an adjustment. It's an opportunity to continue to grow. It's an opportunity to continue to fight and see how much strength you actually have that you don't even know that you're capable of. And I see that for you. Like you're doing what you do
Thank
and
you.
continue to post. Because I know it's not easy to stay consistent
No.
and to constantly encourage others and also put your story out there. Definitely dark days,
Mm-hmm.
definitely days where it's like I don't feel like posting. I just want to lay in the room and just do nothing. So I appreciate you for constantly posting, constantly coming back, and constantly utilizing your support system to lean on them, not only just your family and your friends, but also your doctors, and not giving up and finding a good doctor that was going to listen to you because that's important for everyone on this journey of finding someone, especially in the medical field, that's willing to either re-educate themselves if they have, misinformation that's
Mm-hmm.
not accurate, especially towards the stigmas of HS.
Oh, don't even get me started on those things. If I get another, oh my God, if you lose weight, you'll
Yeah,
probably feel better. I was like, oh my God, I wish that were true.
right? Right. Oh my gosh. The stigmas around HS makes me livid because I just be like, no. Like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Like, how
I
does
was like, don't read Google. Please, don't read Google.
yes, no, 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 do not go to Google. Just go to the doctor or please go to the community. The community got you
Mm-hmm.
next. We will not steer you
It,
wrong.
that's it. And it's the whole things of like people acting like they know your condition better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them like every time, I'm just like, you know, the generalized
Exactly. Exactly.
say that, but you know the condition, you may know someone else's.
Right.
Because like you and I probably have the same, like maybe the same beginning, but through the story, it's completely different. Your flare ups are different. Your triggers are different. What works for you may not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
What works for me may not work for you.
Exactly.
Like the whole, I just let mine, heal on their own and do pretty much what they do. That may not work for somebody else. My pain tolerance is completely different than somebody else's. They
Yeah.
might need that injection just to make it through that dime sized one. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm going to need an injection once it's the size of a grapefruit.
Exactly.
Totally different pain. I can't subject mine off that. It's completely subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't I don't put that past anyone. I'm not going to summarize anyone's pain either. Even if you have a different condition that I don't know about, just because it may not present or seem as painful or as debilitating,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Like that's not for me to say. Nor can you tell me I'm wrong. We just unfortunately go through different things.
Yeah.
So I'm there, like I create content for everybody that's on different scales of pain management or even chronic pain, because of that factor, because I've went through all different types of it, because I've been on different levels of pain, because I've had certain times where HS wasn't even my mind. It didn't even matter to me. It was more so my mental health, even while I was going through flare-ups. So it was during those times where I realized, in all honesty, you just have to be able to, sometimes you just got to sit in a
Mm-hmm.
moment in order to be able to get to the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it for sure. I was definitely gonna ask what was some last minute tidbits and advice you would give to those that are early on in their journeys that can be helpful, or something that you wish that was shared with you in the beginning of your journey that you had to learn, kind of going on and progressing in your journey that someone needs to hear now.
It is not your fault. That will probably be my first thing. It is not your fault. I don't care what happens. I don't care what anyone says. This condition, any condition, anything that's an autoimmune, chronic pain, inflammatory, or it just any disability, it's not your fault. It is either genetic or it happens over time or it's just something that happens in your life. It is a very unfortunate thing, but however, everybody goes through something, and it is either meant to make you or break you. Just can't have it to the point where it breaks you. Sometimes you might chip away, it might crack you, but you have to figure out how to keep going. Because I've had those moments where like I said, I did not think I would just wake up the next morning, or I even put in place where I wouldn't wake up the next morning. But all in all, I'm still here, and I'm very grateful that it didn't go the other way. So I have lost friends to that, and I've seen it happen, and I know for people how hard it can be. And if you watch my videos, you can see how hard mine are.
Yeah.
So you will know. I get you when you're talking about pain. And like I keep saying, pain is subjective. So my tidbit would be just know that it's not your fault. Know that no matter what, you are blessed. You are beautiful. You are human. Nobody's perfect. If they don't understand, they don't understand. You understand. And that's what matters. Because sometimes you got to worry about you.
Worry about
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, again, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the opportunity and the chance to sit down with me and just dive into your experiences, your trials, and your triumphs of your journey and what it's been like from 12 years old up until now at the beautiful age of 29, going into 30.
I know. Don't even.
And you're doing it beautifully.
Thank
Like, please continue to do so because you are touching so many people. You're empowering so many people. And what you're doing is not going unnoticed. So, thank you for doing that and continue to shine your light.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm proud of you, and I know everyone within our community is proud of you for you to continue to do so. So,
I really appreciate that.
Of course. Well, I had a great time. I hope you had a great time.
I did.
Feel free. Let us know what's coming up, where to find you, how can we get in contact with you, and continue to stay a part of your journey.
Absolutely. You guys can find me pretty much on all platforms under Just How Life Goes, or under my business name, which is Your Favorite Shooter. I do photography and videography outside of that. But you can pretty much just find me under those two names or my actual name, which is Destineé Spruell. You'll find that I think I'm just on Facebook under that name. But everywhere else is under those two. Projects coming up, I'm going to be doing more of those photo shoots that I created earlier. I think it was in October that I did that. But the hurricane happened. Well, two of them happened here. So unfortunately, both of my shoots got pushed back. So I did have a little sneak peek before the fall for you guys, but it won't happen until a little later on in December. So just be on the lookout. I do have a lot of things actually coming up. I'm going to be starting up. I'll just let you guys see that one. I'm going to be starting up something pretty big. I want it to be blessed, honestly. So I'm not going to say too much, but the photo shoots, just be on the lookout because those are really my little pet projects of creativity, of just showing what I go through without it being just content that I create. So those are where my handles, where you can find me, and if you guys are ever in Florida, hit me up.
Yes, I love that. Well, I look forward to everything that you have coming up. And I look forward to connecting with you soon and hopefully again. I really enjoyed this conversation and having the opportunity again to dive in. Ever interested in coming back or having an HS hangout with some of our HS warriors?
Absolutely.
Feel free to find us in the link in the bio. Book your time whenever works best for you.
Okay.
Also, feel free to check out our merch, link in the bio as well for HS Warriors and those that support us within the HS community. And until next time, we will catch you guys on another episode. But until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I was super, super, super dope. It was so good to hear her story, kind of hear where she started and hear where she is now, and kind of see just how everything is going in her life and how she is continuing to get things going and continue to live life authentically and just going with the flow. So thanks for joining again.